Hi everyone, it's Lollipop Productions here, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be starting another mini-series on my channel. I know there's a lot of those, sorry. But basically, in this one I'm going to be giving some tips and tricks for LPSTubers. So some steps to success, LPSTube 101, whatever you want to call it. I'm planning on covering a few topics and making this a few parts little series. So for example, things I might talk about in this are common mistakes that are made, how to grow your channel, tips for getting inspiration, editing, and a little bit more maybe, so you'll just have to wait and see if you're interested. But anyways, let's just jump into things. So first and foremost, I will put timestamps in the description, so if there's something specific that you came to this video for, you don't have to wait for it. So just look there and you can see what you need. Pretty much this video is tips for starting out on LPSTube, so you're gonna find how you can pick a mascot, choosing a username. I'm gonna talk about cameras and finding inspiration for videos, a whole bunch of stuff like that, so if you're interested you can stick around. Okay, first of all, this is so important, picking out a username. You want something that isn't too long or complicated because you want people to be able to remember it. So with my username, LPS Lollipop Productions, it could be better, I think. Maybe you guys have different opinions, but I made that username when I was quite young. And if I were making my channel today, I might choose something a bit different, but now that I have it, I'm sticking with it. And that's something else too. Don't change your username all the time. I think it's best that if you pick a username, you're sticking with it. That way people will remember who you are and they won't see you around or in their subscription feed but not know who you are. So generally coming up with something short, simple, easy to remember, and sticking with it is the key. Let's say that your original username idea was LPS Great Dane Pink Cookie 575. Obviously, something like that might not be a great option because it has numbers for one. Those can get confusing for people sometimes. And also, it's obviously just very long. At the other side of that though, you might think, okay, what's something I can make that's shorter? Well, why don't I do LPS and my name? So if that's the case, you might end up with something like LPS Hannah or LPS Emily or Hannah LPS. Although those usernames might sound good and have a nice ring to them, and they fit the criteria of being short and easy to remember, those also wouldn't be good options. Of course, if you want that to be your username really bad, you can go ahead, but those are already the names of very popular LPSTubers, and also a lot of people choose to make their username LPS in their own names, so there might be a lot of people with that same username. You want something original so people always know that it's you. I would say it's fine to choose a username that other people have if it's only one or two of them and they only have a few subscribers, but if it's somebody who has a very large following or a very common username, that's confusing and is something that you should maybe try to stray away from if possible. A few final ideas on things that can help you choose a username are thinking about things that you enjoy or that have some kind of meaning to you. Also, keeping words that go together well can be helpful because if you have a catchy name, that's kind of cool sometimes. Or you could also tie it into your mascot or the kinds of videos you want to make. Hopefully now you have a few ideas as to how you can choose a good username for your channel because it's time to move into the next subject. And that subject is selecting a mascot. The mascot is such a huge part of LPSTube and your LPS channel. Pretty much everybody on their channel has a mascot who represents their videos and who you use to speak in your videos like I am now. So although it's something that a lot of people might not put a lot of thought or effort into, I think you should be. So you can have more than one mascot, but I would say a good limit is 2. That way you're not constantly changing things out because that can be a bit confusing to people. it's good to stay as consistent as possible with your videos. When choosing your mascot, I recommend choosing something that not a lot of people have used or are currently using as their mascot, which can be a bit tricky sometimes because a lot of the popular LPS or LPS that could be your favorites might be used by a lot of people as their mascot. So for example, this short hair cat. I've seen her as a lot of characters in series, but not only that, I've seen many people use this one as their mascot. The same could be said for an LPS like this Dachshund. Most commonly known mascot for this one is Daisy from Puppy Lover 863, so that's already one thing. I recommend avoiding famous LPSTuber mascots. But even aside from Daisy, a lot of other people use this one as the mascot. That is not to say that you can't use a popular LPS as your mascot. If you really want to, feel free. Just for me, I consider the mascot a symbol of the channel, and when I was picking Macy out, I wanted an LPS that isn't seen a lot, not only on LPS videos in general, but especially as other people's mascots. And Macy is an LPS that I love, and I never really see her in people's videos alone, and I know that I've never seen her as somebody's mascot. For example, I wanted it to be something like Destiny from LPS Hannah's channel. That LPS is iconic, and I'm sure when you see it, you often think of LPS Hannah. And that is because, for one, she's a different LPS, and I feel like because of Hannah's channel, she kind of stopped being used in other videos. Like, I've never seen an LPS really used in a normal video. It was always associated with Hannah and Destiny. My hope was that someday something like that would happen with Macy. They would see this LPS and recognize it as, oh, that's LPS Lollipop Productions mascot, that's Macy. So pretty much what I'm getting at is your mascot symbolizes your channel. It can symbolize you as a person, your personality, your appearance. Whatever the mascot is to you, if you want people to recognize your channel, your mascot can be a great key to that, so it's just something to keep in mind. Aside from that, advice I would give for choosing your channel's mascot, I would recommend looking at LPS that are your favorite animal or favorite LPS mold, maybe your favorite color or an LPS that means a lot to you. So for example, your first LPS or one that was your dream LPS. You could choose an LPS that you think represents your appearance. So for example, the same eye or hair color as you. You could choose something that represents your personality. You could go anywhere you want with your mascot. Just all in all, choose an LPS that you really like, because changing your mascot is also something that I would avoid. Okay, so now that you have your username and your mascot picked out, I think that it's very important to have a good profile picture and channel banner. Now, when creating your profile picture, I would say that simplicity is definitely a good thing to stick to. Like everything else so far, your profile picture is something that you should try to keep consistent so you're not changing it all the time. Sometimes changing your profile picture is no problem at all. In fact, I think that's fun. But if you're gonna do that, keeping your profile picture and I guess aesthetic, if you're making an aesthetic, the same for a good chunk of time is something that I would consider, because you want people to be able to recognize your channel. Your profile picture could be as little as just a picture of your mascot, or if you're really artistic or know somebody who is, you could get a drawing for your profile picture. If you have other ideas too, that's great. For your channel's banner, I would say that matching it with your profile picture is a really good idea. But if you don't want to do that, that's awesome too. I know a lot of LPSTubers who don't, and they have different things, and it still looks great. For that, it's just a personal preference type thing, I guess. But what I would say is important in your banner, I would put maybe another picture of your mascot or something relating to your channel, maybe some of your channel characters. You could do a picture or artwork again. And then I would write your username and a little slogan to go along with it. Now the slogan is optional, but a lot of people do this with their banner and it looks really good, so if you want to get in on that bandwagon, you can. Since I'm not creative, mine is just new videos every week, because it's true, I make new videos every week. So just putting something relevant to your channel. So for example, if you have a schedule for videos or are going to, you could say how often you upload, or you could do something fun. Like I know LPS Hannah, before she quit, her catchphrase or tagline was always LPS in action. So if you made something like that, and of course made sure it's original and not just copying somebody else, I would say that's a great thing to put in your banner. I would really recommend the website Canva. There's also an app. That's where I made my banner and I think it turned out pretty good. Now that you know some of the basics about setting up your channel, I would like to talk a little bit about inspiration and getting ideas for your videos. Maybe you already have some ideas, and if so, that's awesome. All I would suggest to anybody is making sure that your ideas are original. If there's something that you're hesitant to make because you're scared or you're not sure if people are gonna like it, go for it, honestly. Originality is one of the only times I would say you shouldn't make an LPS video. Like if it's just like somebody else's, even if you're not directly copying, like you accidentally copy it. I like to search for videos before I make them, just to make sure that somebody hasn't done the exact same thing. Keep in mind though, this isn't necessarily the case for some videos. Like for ones like the one I'm making now, a lot of people have made videos like these. Or if you're making my top 10 favorite LPS, that's a video that's been done a lot, so you wouldn't really be copying anybody with that. Those are just sort of trends, like jumping onto them. Inspiration and copying are two very different things. I think I'm gonna make a separate video all about that topic, but there's a difference in being inspired by somebody's content. So for example, seeing a high school drama series and thinking, oh, I want to make my own. Or seeing that somebody included magic, like fairies, in their series and wanting to make a series about fairies too. Stuff like that is completely fine. When it isn't fine is when you're taking specific events that happen or specific characters and making those exact characters or kinds of videos on your own channel. We all put a lot of time and effort into our videos, so it's not right to copy. If you really like their video, that's great, but you can't just take it for your own. You have to make your own ideas. Personally, my video ideas honestly just kind of come to me when I'm not digging for them. It's just when I'm doing everyday things and then I get inspired and think of something. Now, it isn't like this for everybody, and it isn't always like this for me either, so in those times, I like to look at other LPS series, movies, TV shows, books, my own experiences, and music for inspiration. Scripting is optional, but I would recommend it because it helps your thoughts be more organized and not as jumbled around. And if it's a series or short film, something like that, it can allow for much better dialogue, which is important. And if you start your series without scripting and have no clue where you're going, that's gonna make it really hard and the storyline isn't gonna be as strong. If you're confident with your improv skills, I say go ahead, but try to make sure that you know your idea for the video, like know what's gonna happen at the beginning, middle, and end of the story. In my videos, I use a lot of Kevin Macleod's background music, and actually, I think that when scripting, this can be really helpful because it's instrumental music and it's cinematic, so it goes with different emotions, and I think it really just helps me get focused and capture those emotions while I'm making my scripts. Also, if you're scripting, just try to have fun with it. Make the kinds of videos that you want to make, because if you're not making the videos that you want, or if you're making things just because you think other people will like them, just pursuing things that you don't want, it's going to show. Okay, I think that the final thing I'm going to touch on in this video is cameras. Now, for cameras, I would say when you're first starting out especially, you don't need to go out and buy a bunch of fancy equipment. If you're starting out, maybe using your phone, or I guess if you had to, a tablet could work. but it's kind of bulky, so it might be hard. But using a device like that can be a really good option when you're starting out because it's something that you already have, and you can make sure that LPSTube is actually something that you're going to continue with, because if you're thinking you're going to do LPSTube but you're just trying it out, you buy a really expensive camera right away and then you don't like it and quit like a year or a few months later, it kind of just all goes to waste. Work your way up. I've used many cameras and I didn't start off using the most professional thing in the world at all. A Canon is a really good option if you do want to up your quality and become more professional once you've done it for a while. There are other options that are probably less expensive. Also, waiting until sales happen is a great idea. Getting it secondhand, borrowing it from somebody that you know. If you're curious, I've said it a few times, but my camera is a Canon Rebel T3i. Now, I think that is all of the advice I have to give in this video for LPSTubers who are just starting out. So I really do hope it was helpful and maybe you learned something. And if you didn't, at least I hope you enjoyed watching. As I said at the beginning of this video, this will be a series, so I'm going to be saying a lot more about different things relating to how to make LPS videos. Please stick around if you liked this, because those will be coming sometime pretty soon, I think. As always, I love you all a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!